Let's listen to Swamiji's inspiration on the topic of gratitude. Gratitude is a way of returning energy for energy received. Only a thief takes without paying for what he gets. And one who accepts a kindness without returning gratitude, as though the kindness were his by right, demeans both the giver and himself. He demeans the giver because by ingratitude, he implies that the kindness was inspired by selfish motives. And he demeans himself because by giving nothing in return, he breaks the cycle of creativity, without which prosperity's flow, both materially and spiritually, is blocked. Accept nothing inwardly for yourself, but offer everything to God. Don't let yourself be bought by others' kindnesses. Be grateful to them above all in your soul by blessing or praying for them. Give gratitude first of all to God, from whom alone all blessings truly come. Let's affirm together. We can do so mentally in inner stillness with each repetition, bringing greater sincerity, conviction, devotion, and unconditional self-offering. I give thanks to the giver behind each gift, and to the one giver behind all that I receive. My gratitude rises with devotion's incense to the throne of omnipresence. I give thanks to the giver behind each gift, and to the one giver behind all that I receive. My gratitude rises with devotion's incense to the throne of omnipresence, visualizing, feeling the power behind the words. I give thanks to the giver behind each gift, and to the one giver behind all that I receive. My gratitude rises with devotion's incense to the throne of omnipresence. One last time, I give thanks to the giver behind each gift, and to the one giver behind all that I receive. My gratitude rises with devotion's incense to the throne of omnipresence. Let us offer this prayer mentally. I thank Thee, Lord, for all Thy blessings, but most of all, I thank Thee for Thy love. Let's take a few moments to feel and absorb the beautiful inspiration, affirmation, and prayer of gratitude. And let us share the vibrations of this beautiful quality, and may it be established in all souls and creation. Let us chant Om 3 times, sending out these blessings. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay, once again, warm greetings to everybody. Thank you for coming on this auspicious day. And I was just thinking to myself in meditation that these auspicious days actually remind us of a grandness, of a divine majesty that is bestowed on human reality, and which we in our ignorance belittle and eventually lose sight of. But their journeys give us that glimpse into that infinite love, a vital hope, and a clear direction that every soul is seeking in life. And with deep gratitude and humility, we bow before these great masters for this great sacrifice, for coming for you and me, to awaken each one of us. You know, this exhortation by Swamiji is well placed for today's times. He said, what this world needs is a spiritual army, not militant or aggressive, but an army that is sincere in demonstrating a commitment to higher values, to God, and a firm rejection of worldly values. Isn't that beautiful? How true. When we look at our lives and the distracted pace and busyness of it, the mental tortures that we go through to succeed, to accomplish all that we need to accomplish, to overcome our challenges, and find respite now and then in sleep. In all that busyness, we may not hear the call of the soul, but the soul is silently calling for that divine love, for that freedom. And it is very beautifully captured in this story that Swamiji shares. In his early years, he was seeking truth, seeking meaning, purpose. And one day he had this dream. And in this dream, he said, he was in a torture chamber, and he had his friends and relatives, and the whole family was there, and many friends. And every day they would wake up, they would be tortured, and then they would find a little respite in sleep. The next day, they would again wake up, be tortured, go back to sleep. And he said this rhythm continued every day, and they thought, well, we are reasonably well off. What else is there? They didn't know of any other existence. They didn't know of any other life. And this continues until it strikes him and a few others. Well, is this all there is to life, to living? There must be something more. How do we escape and find if there is a new life? And so they lay a plan and decide to vanquish the torturers when they come the next day. So the next day the torturers come. They sneak up behind the torturers, slay them, and run. They run fast, going down to the chamber below, in fright that there might be more that might stop them. But interestingly, there was nobody to stop them. They said, wow. They kept going down the stairs. They went down to the ground floor. It was completely empty. It seemed as though only the top floor of the building was full with people and torture. The next two floors were empty, and they go out to the ground floor and into the vast meadows. And they're so happy that they found freedom in beautiful, vast meadows. The horizon is calling them. And they celebrate, we have found our freedom. And Swamiji says, just before we moved further, we thought, let's take a last look at this place that was our reality all these days, all these years. And they look back at this building. And they're surprised to find that the torturers are back, continuing to do what they've been doing. And they look at one another in surprise and, how come? We just killed them. And then he says the thought came to him that what you really conquered was yourself, your mental limitations, that was your torture. And this torture will go on to all who submit to it. And he says, later on, he realized the deep spiritual significance of the dream. He said he realized that the top chamber symbolized the mind and all the mental tortures, mental limitations. And the other floors were empty because once you overcome and slay your mental torturers, there is nothing else to overcome. You're free. You are free. And he felt that need, the desire for freedom, through that dream. And it also told him about his mental tortures when he was going through his quest, the over-intellectualization of his path, the doubts and the fears. At one time he said he had no fears, but in the beginning he had this fear of being disappointed by others. So he said, I realized that this dream was speaking to me spiritually of a new way of life, and it helped a spiritual search. And when we look at our life, we too can recognize mental tortures. We too can recognize seeking that brief respite and sleep every day, waking up back to those tortures, continuing with life until you reach a point and you ask yourself, is there nothing else to life? And our quest acquires a new dimension. Swamiji also shares one more beautiful story of Thoreau, well-known philosopher. He was walking with his friend in the forest, and his friend remarked to him, you know, it's surprising that there are no more traces of the indigenous tribes that inhabited these places long ago. And Thoreau, in that moment, as he was looking down, he instantly noticed an arrowhead. And he said, well, they're everywhere. And Swamiji, he said that little anecdote always reminded him of a very important point, a beautiful point. He said it reminded him it's not important what's lying around you. What is important is the mental attitude with which we look. Isn't that beautiful? What is important is the mental attitude with which we look. Often we look around us and we feel, oh, there's so much uncertainty in the world. There's so much war, strife, displacements, fighting. Well, it's a reflection also of the world inside us that we impose on the world outside us. And we think there is nothing spiritual outside in this world. There is no spiritual inspiration at work. There is no spiritual inspiration outside. Where do I look? But on the other hand, friend, if we were to take this beautiful insight that Swamiji has given us, we realize that God descends. He descends into the mundane and the ordinary. He descends into the challenges and the obstacles to meet us eye to eye. But we don't see him. And that's why Christ would often say, those who have eyes to see, let him see. Those who have ears to hear, let him hear. Why is it that we don't see? Why is it that we don't hear God's whispers, God's form in this creation? Very naturally, as our teachings tell us, our desires blind us. If we can let go of our attachments, if we can let go of the blinding desires that keep us from seeing, we can see better, and we can see God in every moment, in every situation. That is the life of the masters, and that's what they come to show us again and again, how to see God in every moment, in every breath. You know, there is this story that a devotee shares about Swamiji. He was leading a pilgrimage to a forest lawn where Yoganandaji's body is kept. And one of the devotees was a nun waiting for acceptance at SRF. And so she had joined this pilgrimage, and she was talking to Swamiji, and she just knew one thing, that she wanted a life of discipleship. So she was talking to Swamiji, and Swamiji said, why don't you come to Ananda, try living in our community, and so on and so forth. And the following day, they were on their way to the crypt. And as Swamiji was climbing up the crypt, she was right behind Swamiji. And she as she recounts the story, she says that I had just one thought in my mind. I want to live the life of a disciple. I don't care about a good life in the mountains. She said, even though Swamiji had said so much about Ananda, I didn't feel so much for Ananda or a community life. I just knew one thing. I wanted the life of a disciple. And she said, right then and there, a clear voice came to her head. Take discipleship from this man. That's it. Take discipleship from this man. That was Swamiji. When we are listening, when we are sincere in our quest, God speaks to us. He gives us very clear directions. And if we are not finding the direction, it's because there's some confusion in our quest. Maybe all of our molecules, the mental citizens, are not fully committed to that quest. or to clear answers. Maybe we don't want to know in the depths of our hearts. Swamiji's life is that of a warrior. And by that extension, we are all called to be warriors, as he exhorts. Firm rejection of worldly values. What is the heart of a worldly values? It's the essence of materialism, where you're depending on things outside of you for your comfort. But a spiritual life, lived well, is not an accession of comfort. It's an accession of strength. When you overcome the battles, as Swamiji's life showed. And sometimes, and it was not an easy life, we all know, but in the depths of his despair, sometimes when he would cry to God, why are my brothers and sisters persecuting me? And Babaji said, they are all my children. As we ascend the spiral staircase of wakefulness, we will be called on for a greater expansion of our consciousness. That is all there is. God meeting you eye to eye, if we can open our heart instead of turning away from him, saying, this is too difficult for me. This is not right. This is not just. Because in the final analysis, friends, there is just one light. There is no thus, them and us. There is just one reality. And that's what Swamiji's life, his journey shows us again and again. There is another story, beautifully shared by a devotee. She was diagnosed with a disease that was terminal, and there was no cure for it. And so one day she was praying desperately to Master, and one of the symptoms of what she was going through was her legs had swollen up. And so she was praying to Master, and Master came to her in a vision, and she sees him sitting on a chair with the orange shawl on his shoulders. And he gently lifts his pant legs and shows her swelling in his legs. And from that moment, she had healed. The Master had taken on that karma. You know, as we find our way through this journey, we need support. The gurus are always there, the masters are always there, but we also need to support one another in the journey. And we also need, likewise, to lift the burdens of one another, the strong ones, the weaker. This is a duty. Swamiji had two desires, to find God and to share him with everyone. And it is interesting that Master says, he says, before liberation, you have to free 6 others. Now, often we go into calculations, now Swamiji we know has been liberated in this life, Master gave him that promise. So often we wonder, well, who are the 6 others? Hiding amongst us? Or who have passed on? Who can fathom these mysteries? But one is interested in the essence of the principle, which says that your own liberation comes only after you free 6 others. The fruit of your labor is in the fruit of another. And so we need to draw these principles into our own daily life. It's not enough, I will first learn to become and then teach others calmness. Yes, that resolve is good. I need to find God. I need to find calmness. But equally so, you need to have or nurture or cultivate the desire inside you to want to share that also with somebody who is suffering, with somebody who is seeking, with somebody who is receptive. And that's what makes this journey beautiful. Because ultimately the essence of the path is one of divine friendship and an ever-expanding heart filled with love. Once Sri Yukteswarji asked Master, do you love people? He said, no, I love only God. And I think Master understood what his guru was trying to ask of him. After some days or months, I forget the time, Sri Yukteswarji asked again, do you love people? This time Master said yes. Selflessness. In our thoughts, in our actions as we go through our daily routines, if we can expand the scope of our pursuit, to be more selfless in degrees. in the way we can handle it, but to keep our eyes on that goal and not to be content with serving one's own end, but to keep our eyes on the goal. Okay, I served my end. Okay, I forgot. I didn't remember. Well, can we bring our eyes back on that goal and remember and try again the next time? That's what they all come to teach us, again and again. He said, we know that Swamiji, he would often travel between 3 communities. And one day after, he was speaking at one of the communities, and he looked at everybody and he said, "You're all looking well." And so one of them responded, "Thanks to you, Swamiji." And he says, "You all are my most important work. I have done some other little things." We all know the voluminous legacy he has left for one man. But he said, "I've done some other little things, but you all are my most important work." We were reading gratitude. We owe it to him to take his legacy forward, his legacy of kindness, his legacy of being a warrior, of standing up for truths, of not flinching in that battle. And even if you did flinch, to come back with renewed gusto, enthusiasm, zeal for a higher life. There's a beautiful quote that I think it is Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I hope I'm saying that name right. But he said, if you want to build a ship, don't go about gathering wood, allocating work, and so on. He said, awaken in the heart of man a desire for the vast, endless sea. And that's again what the Masters and Swamiji come again and again through their life, through all the battles they have won. What are they showing us? Victory lies in front of you. But it depends on the attitude with which we see it. So cultivating in us, awakening in us that desire for bliss, for freedom. Not to be happy with, it's okay, this is regular life, it happens to everybody, this torture is natural. We are human. They come to show what true human reality is about. To raise our gaze onto infinite vistas and not to lock them in this world of appearances. This is an aspect of the play of Maya, to fool us with appearances and to tell us that you don't have time for your neighbor and for anything that is good. I'm talking about the larger good. You are too busy. It's a very, very dark snare of Maya to which we often fall in our busyness. And that's what these masters come to awaken us again and again, to wake up from our slumber, from the slumber of our senses, and to see behind the appearances, God wants to reveal himself. Through everything that is standing before you, he is right there. But he wants, when we choose light, when we choose love, that's when light and love awaken within us. That is the secret key. It comes through living. As they say, what you sow is what you reap. We give love, we awaken love within us and around us. And I want to close with what Swamiji, as he said, you all are my most important work. And at another time he said, the beauty or the satisfaction of creating Ananda is not about the beauty of this place, nor is it about its success as a community. What has been most satisfying for me is to see God's love in each of your eyes. And as he, tearly looks at everybody, he has tears in his eyes, as he says, this is what satisfies me most, to see God's love awakened in your eyes. That's what he came for, friends. And let us today, as we celebrate his birthday, resolve, like him, to commit ourselves to a higher goal. Loyalty, commitment are important, necessary guideposts that we must endeavor if we seek to come ashore. So let's commit ourselves to finding God, and not to forget your brothers and sisters in the journey, to share those blessings as you walk, to share those blessings with all and carry more of your brothers and sisters with you in this journey. Let's take a few moments to close our eyes, to inwardly bow to Swamiji, inviting him to give us strength in our battles, and to fill us with joy, enthusiasm, kindness, compassion, as we try to put one step in front of the other. May we find an awakening of divine love, of divine light in our hearts. Swamiji calls us. His blessings are there. Are our blessings there? Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We will now have a blessing, and I would like to... Oh, that's true, please. How did I forget the choir? We will now have some beautiful music by Swamiji, and then we will have a blessing ceremony with offering flower petals of devotion.
If you're seeking freedom in evolution, oh, if you're seeking freedom, you won't find it there. But once the guns stop blazing, you'll find it amazing how the world can drag on just as before. If you're seeking freedom in a marble mansion, oh, if you're seeking freedom, you won't find it there. For even when it's sunny, you'll be counting money, even up that showcase your face lined with care. And if you're seeking freedom on a throne of power, oh, if you're seeking freedom, you won't find it there. For no men all obey you, what if they betray you, tensely and waiting for foes everywhere. But if you're seeking freedom, cast away desires, why barter like a beggar your wealth everywhere? Never can you buy it, grasp and you deny it. Freedom can be hoarded, it's free as the air. And if you're seeking freedom, seek it on the mountains, for sunlight on your shoulders, the wind in your hair. For there's no one can hold you, boss about or mold you. Once your heart is free, you'll be king everywhere. Once your heart is free, you'll be king everywhere. All trials we sing thy name, joy